With us today is Sunshine Baker. Sunshine, welcome.
Thank you.
Sunshine, you have worked both as a blogger and a brand representative for over 12 years with a variety of internet and marketing experiences, and you're a social media professor at the University of Central Florida.
Yes.
Busy, busy.
It is. That's great.
So we're glad you could join us today to talk specifically about the relationships that bloggers have with brands. So let's just start from the beginning. And what should a blogger do on their website to make sure that it's ready for when they want to work with a brand?
Hey, well, you start with the basics and make sure that everything works, that the link works, it's very clean, and that everything can be seen and found, and that it all kind of makes sense of what the meaning of your site is just from the initial look at it. Mm-hmm. And then you want to tell me what you have in common with my brand. So it needs to say something that, to make it clear what your audience is and who you're trying to speak with, so that I'll know whether it's, if it's just parachuters, then it has nothing to do with me. It has to have some kind of something to make it clear that it has, with the how it could be related to what I'm selling. Mm-hmm. So, and the other thing would be, I can go with somebody who has a really small audience if they're very attractively presented, if the pictures they take are really great, if they have exciting videos, if they have a couple of posts up already. I would say that if you are going to pitch a certain type of company, first do some posts on your own that are unsponsored and that aren't, just about that topic. So go to an ice cream shop if you want to cover, dessert shops, or and do some things on your own before you start pitching, so we can see examples of the type of work you'll do.
So it was interesting that you said that you don't mind occasionally working with smaller bloggers that might just be starting out,
right,
as long as they are packaged well.
Right. Right. If it looks good, and I feel like you're going to make my brand look great, especially if you have an interesting angle or something that looks good, then I'll definitely give people a chance. But the caveat is, if I give you a chance and I invite you to some major event that is very limited, maybe only has 10 or 12 people there, and I give you one of those seats, then I've seen your blog, I do expect you to I expect the people who are new to kind of go overboard and wow me, because you want to get invited to everything else, right? So that can bite you if you don't actually
go
perform.
Overboard. I love that. That's actually good advice though for any blogger if somebody's going to be paying them. So
yeah,
excellent.
If you were trying to prove yourself, I'm kind of giving people. Sometimes I'll give new people a chance, thinking, oh, they're going to really prove themselves and show me. And then if they don't even post anything, I'm like, oh, you're off the list.
Off the list very quickly.
Yeah.
So, when a blogger wants to work with a brand, we introduce you as a brand representative, but what does that mean? You work in the marketing department or public relations, or does it vary between different companies?
Yes, it would be small companies mostly that would hire me, and they would ask me to seek out people to get the word out about their product. Mm-hmm. They know that social media works, and when they ask me to manage their social media for them, which is usually what I'm in charge of, I always tell them the best way to do that is with bloggers, because bloggers, you could send out 1,000 tweets to 1,000 different individuals and get each of them to respond, or you could do one blogger with 1,000 audience and get all of those people. So the exponential power of using the audiences of bloggers makes it worth it for brands. So when someone hires me to do their social, and that's what I always recommend, I explain blogging to them first, and I say, this is what you want to do, is reach out to the influencers, and then they will expand your message to the public. Mm-hmm.
So when a blogger is ready to engage with a brand, what are some of the ways that they could pitch that brand representative to really make themselves stand out?
Well, you need to make, just like anything else, if you make it so that we don't have to think, right? Like that I don't have to I don't have to make some creative thing as a middleman.
Wait a minute.
Because you had a lot of pitches coming through.
Right. If you just say, well, I have a coupon blog and I want to work with your chocolate shop, it's like, well, we don't have coupons. What is how does that relate? You need to show us, find out who our target market is, or at least guess what it might be, and say, look, I figure that you're probably trying to reach this demographic. Let me show you what my demographic is. That's what we need to see, because you can have the most amazing coupon blog with 1 million followers, and that's great, but are they local? Are they going to come to my shop? Are they the persona of target audience that I'm looking for? So the more you can tell the brand how your audience matches with their target customer, the better. Mm-hmm. So that would be the first step, I would say, is if you're going to do a pitch, don't give us a bunch of numbers that may not even relate to what we're trying to, who we're trying to reach.
So when a blogger does get the opportunity to work with you, what are some do's and don'ts from the brand's point of view? What are some of the pet peeves that maybe bloggers do and don't realize?
I would say don't start too hard with the hard sell. Don't, a lot of times I'll have these events and the president of the company will be there. And they may have never even heard of blogging or social media or ever done anything with this before. A lot of times that happens. And so this is like their first exposure to the world of social media. They may think, okay, websites are okay, but they may be like far from even thinking that social media is anything but a bunch of people whining. So you have to, first I got to prove to them that social media is great. Then I have to prove to them that blogging is great. And if you go there and start, nagging them at the event and saying, well, you need to sign up to sponsor my blog straight to the president or to the VP or something, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, who are these people, right? So you're making an impression of what bloggers are and who they are. So I, of course, looking professional, acting professional, and not jumping straight to a pitch, building a relationship first.
And I think bloggers like that in return. I know we have a lot of bloggers that much prefer to work with brands they're familiar with, that have friended them on social media, follow them on social media, tweet to them occasionally, and that makes them much so. It sounds like it's reciprocal.
Yes, yeah, we'll have a community of bloggers that we usually have met at an event, and that it worked really well. We liked them. We felt like we could tell that they would have a good rapport and the same type of people that we would be looking for. And then, we will definitely engage back all the time. And so, yeah, we have, the brands that I work with have, communities of bloggers that, a lot of times we'll share their content for them. Well, if you have maybe a calendar of things that are coming up in Orlando, we'll share it on I try to do a lot of sharing of blogger stuff on the large social media sites of these brands. So there's a lot of things that we can do back for you, even before we get to the point of actually paying for anything. So yeah, making sure that you engage with us on a long-term basis and build a relationship. And then when we do have something like, oh my gosh, we have this amazing camp coming up and we want everyone to hear about it, then take the opportunity to retweet some of the stuff. And that's a way for us to see that, okay, you're keeping an eye on what we're doing and we're keeping an eye on what you're doing, and we like the way you function as a blogger and as a social media engager.
So you've had the opportunity to organize, and I know this because I've had the opportunity to attend some really cool, unusual creative events for the brands that you've represented. Why is it that you like working with bloggers as opposed to like traditional media? Like, why aren't you inviting maybe you are, the magazine journalists, the newspaper reporters? What is it about bloggers?
Well, I think the traditional things tend to be more bland and maybe more, straight up. They have a formula that they're going to write about and they're going to say, I tasted this, I did this. The value of bloggers is that they bring their own story and that they can tell all different types of audiences. You can, invite 30 bloggers that have all different types of blogs. We do the theme park ones and the mommies and the food bloggers and entertainment bloggers, and then they'll bring in different audiences and they'll write it in their own voice. And that's what I like it when people do something different, like having their kid write the article, even if they edit it and make it look better, having it come from a different perspective. And then we get, it's just a much richer experience for the readers. They get to really understand what's going to happen.
So if our readers are interested in maybe tweeting you a question, where can they find you, online or on Twitter?
Yes, it's at Sunshine Styles. That's my name. So yeah.
Real name, by the way. Real name.
Native Floridian.
So you created a social media series as part of your professorship there, and you worked with the University of Central Florida to create this whole series, and blogging was one of the segments that you featured. And so let's go ahead and take a look at this in-depth video on blogging. When people hear the word blogger, they generally think of a mommy blogger or some young adult posting selfies and things like that. Blog, though, actually is an incredibly useful tool. Whether you're in business for yourself, whether you are a school, whether you're a nonprofit, or if you are a brick and mortar business. And it can be very personal information, like written from the CEO or from a teacher, or it can be more informative, like a nonprofit putting out information about, for example, Second Harvest wanting to put out information about their latest food drive. It's a way to connect the organization with the audience in a little bit more personal way. When you have a blog post, people are able to comment on it, and so you're bringing the reader into your blog world, you're asking for their opinion, and so it becomes a two-way street. Companies are being very creative with the ways that they interact with the public. A blog, really, you can do anything you want with it. It can be text and photos, it can be text, photos, and video. And so really you can craft a really great social media campaign starting with the blog and everything going out from there. The Florida Institute of Technology does this incredible thing with their blog. So they took some of their marketing dollars and created a student blog on their website. So if you visit the FIT website, if you're a prospective student, you're actually gonna be reading students who are blogging about their experience there. And they found that not only does it help their SEO, because it's constantly being changed, they're constantly hitting the keywords that they wanna hit, but it's providing a much more organic experience for a prospective student to look at the school. One of the goals that I have with my Florida Blogger and social media conference. All the bloggers that I know out there, most of them, 99.9% of them, want to move from being hobbyists to being professionals. They would love to get paid to sit in their pajamas and write from home, and wouldn't we all? So by connecting with brands, they're able to start monetizing their blog. And so the advantage is that the blogger starts to move into that professional realm of working with different brands. The companies that connect with bloggers gain this really powerful organic voice. 76% of people would rather take their friend's word of mouth advertising over a commercial or a print ad or a radio ad that they hear. And so the more that a company can tap into using a blogger, because bloggers develop friendships with their readers. Whether they have a small readership or a large readership, those loyal readers keep coming back and feel like they have a bond with that blogger. And so that blogger becomes, the friend that's recommending something to you. So they become this immensely powerful brand ambassador for the companies that they really like. So my goal is to create that win-win. Right now, most people, when they think of blogging, they think of all text. But as most bloggers know, there's so much multimedia that you can use. You can put photography in there, you can do video, you can do podcasting. And I'm really seeing this push towards video. One of the pushes that we at FL BlogCon encouraged bloggers to do this year was to incorporate video. It's so easy to do. Think about Pinterest, think about We Heart This, which is another one just like Pinterest. And then we see Instagram has added video. Vine is growing in popularity. So I really think video is the wave of the future.